Alright, so in this series of videos, we'll be talking about how to set up your Moonbot for fully automated trading. By fully automated, I mean you without your interaction with the price or the bot at all. Okay, so really our group in this course is mostly tailored towards people trying to learn how to trade manually, and we are mostly trading manually. However, maybe a few of us have like a couple easy to set up automated strategies in Moonbot that are profitable. Now, there are a number of strategies in Moonbot. You can access them by going into the strategies button, and in here you have to make sure that your auto detect is on and mode is signals. Okay, so whenever you have that selected, you essentially see a folder, or sorry, a window with a bunch of strategies. Okay, so these strategies are mostly, so the ones that are turned on, you can tell by this little light bulb. It means that they are working. Now, none of these strategies are actually trading. They are there to be detects. So, for example, you'll see sometimes detects pop up right here. So that's basically the strategies working there. This is how Moonbot tells you that there is like a coin that has potentially enough volatility for you to trade manually. However, we can utilize this to set up a fully automated trading strategies. And actually, hundreds of people do that with Moonbot, and they're highly profitable. Some of them make hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. So this is definitely a really good way to utilize Moonbot as this expensive piece of software. Um, However, I do want to say that it's not gonna be as easy as one might think. So you have to get very creative with setting up these strategies, but it's definitely possible. So for the first lesson, we will be going over drops detection. Um, to set up a drops detection strategy, you will go into this window. You'll just call it drop demo or whatever. In here, you will select drops detection. And really quickly, I want to say that the most profitable strategies that I've seen people set up and make like a very significant amount of money consistently is drops detection, moonshot, um, EMA, spread, and moonhook. Some some people sometimes I've seen like pump detection, but it looks like mostly it's working during bull market rather than like any market condition. Okay, so once you select that, a lot of these are self-explanatory. They are not very like important. However, this debug log is pretty important because whenever you're just setting up the strategy and whenever you are experimenting with different parameters, I do recommend having a debug log on because it will actually dump logs as a txt files into your Moonbot folder, and those will have different like lots of useful information, like for example what were some of the parameters at the time when the bot decided to make a purchase on some sort of asset and so on and so forth, and using that you can kind of tailor it a little bit to your liking. Okay, user interface. So for this purposes I'm going to change colors to sell order of red and then buy order of green, just to kind of show that something else is working on the chart. And yeah, so user interface and this main like very self-explanatory, not very important. Where the magic starts, and I'm sorry, really quick. The way this whole thing works is basically all you do is just set up hundreds of these parameters to kind of tell the bot how to behave, what to do, and then it does the rest for you. It's not any sort of AI or anything like that. It's 100% rules based. So you have to make sure that you pick these rules correctly. Okay. Dynamic white and black list. This is a brand new feature actually in the latest version of the Moonbot. It has not been there before, but essentially what it does is it it does like a certain cutoff of how many coins. So for example, let's say inside of filters, you set up filters in the way where 200 200 coins pass the filters at any given time. So using this filter, you can say white whitelist count 100. Okay, and what that will do is, and then you will sort this by, let's say you will sort this by 15-minute delta, and then you'll sort it descending. So you will take 100 coins with the highest 15-minute delta, and it will only focus on those. It's not gonna care that there's like 100 other coins that pass the filter, right? It's only gonna actually do 100. With dynamic blacklist, it works exactly the same way, but just the other way. Dynamic refresh is the number of seconds when these deltas will be recalculated, and the set of coins will change. Okay, moving on. Filters. Also somewhat of a self-explanatory, but this one, I think, in my opinion, about 80% of trading, manual or automated, is done through filtering. So whenever you trade manually, like all we teach in our course is like how to pick a coin properly. Well, same applies into fully automated trading. This right here is what you should be spending most of your time on to make sure that your the coins that pass through these filters um, are actually tradable. So um, let's start. Ignore filters. Obviously, do not do that unless you do that just for the testing purposes. Coins whitelist and blacklist. I recommend you to use some of that. So, for example, what a lot of people are doing is they are always kind of keep a finger on the pulse on the market, and they just see, okay, how different coins perform, how different coins move. For example, there is a market maker called DFW based out of Dubai, the worst market maker possible. What a lot of people will do is that they will place any coins that that market maker is on, they will place it as a blacklist. The reason why is because actually it's not very like known why, but any coin that is managed by that market maker behaves the same way, and that same way is absolutely horrible. Like it's very hard to like trade it, just even scalp it. And then usually those coins kill automated trading really fast. So I do suggest you like keep a market on the pulse. Use the whitelist and blacklist. Um, so what else? Minimal leverage. So because we are going to be trading on futures. You can set a minimum leverage and max leverage to not get liquidated easily. So for example, in my opinion, your max leverage should be 10, minimum leverage should be like somewhere like 5 or something. Okay, um, that should be a pretty good start. Um, Custom EMA. So this one is actually pretty tough. This one is pretty interesting, I should say. Not tough, but I would say I should say pretty interesting. So the reason why it's interesting is because you can set different custom rules. So for example, let's do EMA. Um, what should I do? EMA 5M, 15M. Oops. And then what's happening here is it's going to calculate exponential moving average of in on 5 minute time frame. I don't remember. I think yeah. So I don't remember what it's gonna actually take. Like, is it actually gonna take um, average prices over 5 minute time frame, or how many of actual data points? But the website the Moonbot website will be able to tell you that for sure. And what it essentially is going to do is it will compare that to 15-minute EMA. And then so I just said about the Moonbot website, you actually can go into this moonbot.com pro version extension pack, and then you will see EMA filtering strategy. And then so this right here is actually described in a little bit better terms. So I recommend you just like read thoroughly through this part on how to set up EMA filter. But essentially, that's the whole point. Um, whenever I was experimenting with it, I didn't find that EMA necessarily is like very helpful. What I found is that um, Max is very helpful, so because it allows you to filter out quick pumps. Like for example, so the maximum, like we can do something like the maximum of um, 10 seconds versus maximum of 5 minutes. So should be less than like a certain difference. Like let's say it should be less than 4%. So the way, so essentially we'll have a formula, maximum, minimum, EMA, whatever, and it's going to compare the two prices. So what it's going to do is going to take a maximum price over the last 10 seconds, and I meant to say um, 5 seconds. It's going to take or let's do 60. So it's going to take maximum price over the last 60 seconds, and it's going to compare that to the last price over the last 5 seconds. So the reason why it's done is this. And it's going to be, let's say it's going to be less than 4. So this is the format of the formula. You do this formula, and then you compare that to some sort of number that is in percent. Okay, so what this does, let me actually draw on the chart. So let's imagine that we have a coin that pumps like crazy, right? So it just does this, does this, does that, and like out of nowhere, this was very helpful in the bear market. Out of nowhere, it does that. So whenever it does that, there is always a rebound. Well, the problem is that sometimes this rebound goes right back and then continues down because all they do is just they kill shorts or whatever. Um, a lot of if you don't have that filter, what chances are you will have like your filters will pass for the drops detection will pass somewhere here, maybe here or whatever. But the problem is that the price continues down. So whenever you use this maximum of over the last 60 seconds, so it's going to say, okay, let me take the price over the maximum price over the last 60 seconds. And then so when this happens, now let me take a maximum price over the last 5 seconds. So these two will be the same initially. When this happens, this will be the same. But as 5 seconds, or let's say maybe 15 seconds goes by, the price in this 15 seconds has already kind of went down to the point where it doesn't dump like crazy anymore. It's more of a sideways action. And then so this window kind of moves far back enough to say, okay, so over the last 15 seconds, my maximum price was, let's say, $1. But over the last 60 seconds, my maximum price was $2. Okay? And then so this percent will you can set this up in a way where it will essentially delay the work of the strategy after a sudden pump. It's very very helpful to not get um, to kind of not come across some like really weird accidental pumps, accidental squeezes, and like just not uh, um, to essentially further like filter out certain situations that you wouldn't trade manually. Okay, working time. So I do not use this, but it's essentially like you can set it up to work during certain hours. Like let's say you only want to trade Asia session, you only want to trade New York Open, or you want to trade anything besides New York. Or maybe there is like a time in a day where there is like nothing happens, for example. You can use that filter to set this up. Not many people use that. I have not seen anyone use that. Only new listing. This filter will only trade when the coin is just newly listed. Nobody's using in 2024, 25. Nobody's using that. This kind of stayed from the previous bull market when, as soon as the coin is listed, it just goes for a crazy pump. Now it's not the case, so everyone keeps it zero. Don't trade listing. That's on the flip side. This one appeared during a bear market because what was happening is that as soon as something is listed, it goes straight to zero. So you can set this to 1 um, to make sure it doesn't trade when the coin is new listed, but it's again, well, whatever. Max balance. Um, so the max balance is filtering, telling it to not to place a buy order if your balance is used up by other strategies. In this case, yeah, like I've never used it because I never had like so many strategies that it's going to use up my full portfolio. So max and min ping is very important. So max ping is very important more than the minimum ping. So for if it's very beneficial to set it up when there is like a lot of movement on the market. So you can set this up to like, let's say 500, and whenever your ping raises to more than that, it's not gonna attempt to trade because a lot of times when the ping is really high, um, the bot thinks that it can like it can place an order, but the price has already moved a certain amount of like percent, that it's no longer makes sense to place an order. And then so maximum latency, this latency is the second number. So the first, so this minimum ping, min and max ping is this first number. So this is the ping from exchange, from exchange to your computer. The second one is the latency for order replacement or order placement. So again, same logic. Now this is where the magic happens. You have a lot of volume filters. So obviously, like what we teach in our course is that like one of the fundamentals is that if you want to have something tradable, the tradable coin, it needs to have volumes, and then so you control how much volume you want. So this min and max volume, that's daily volume. Okay, so for example, a good start would be something like 1 mil. 1 mil minimum, and then let's say like lots of mil maximum, right? Because the maximum doesn't really matter, but again, that depends on your strategy. Minimum hourly volume. This is also so for an hour, I would say you want to have at least 500k in hourly volume. Maximum does not matter. Minimum, so this hourly volume fast and max hourly volume fast, I like to keep it the same. Basically, it's a little bit faster calculation. I don't know why Moonbot team decided to do two of these, but this is essentially fast updating volume. This is slow updating volume. I don't know why they did. Why not just to keep the fast one? Maybe because it loads up a CPU too much or whatever. I don't know. Minimum now minute volume delta. So this says how much volume has changed, how much it changed relatively to itself. So for example, if the minimum volume delta minimum of 1 means that it's the same, the average volume over the last minute is the same as average volume during the last 3 hours. It makes sense that it's not going to be less than 1 because you do want high volumes. So minute volume delta max, this is important because, for example, let's say that the last minute volume is 2 times higher than average minute volume over the last 3 hours. That means that there is some sort of interest, okay? But what if it's like 20 instead of 2? It could mean that now it's too much interest. Maybe there is some sort of bad news that came out on the coin. Maybe something bad happened. You probably don't want that. So you might want to keep it something conservative here. Penalty time. So this penalty kicks in when this bot makes 3 bad trades in a row. And then it kicks in, and let's say it's a 300, so let's say we will keep it at 60. So 60 seconds, it's not going to take another trade if it took 3 negative trades in a row. And then this penalty time is on detection. Now trade penalty can be different. Obviously, like you can say like more or less or whatever, but in this case I'm not going to use it. Now deltas. So these deltas filters is also very important. So for example, in the delta, the 3-hour delta. Very important. I'm sorry, really quick. So these volumes you can see in the tab called Show Markets. If you click on Show Markets, you'll be able to see all the stuff like, looks like I cannot, but anyway, so this is like, so in this case, this is a by volume. Okay, so you need to expand it. Sorry guys, let me just expand it really quick. Oh yeah, nice, it still fits. Okay, you see different deltas on all the coins. You see different deltas. You can sort by any one of them, and more importantly, you can see. I thought you could see volumes. Well, yeah, you can see hourly volume and you can see daily volume. Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, you can see 3-minute volume, hourly volume, and then daily volume. So obviously, so based on this, you will be able, like for example, let's say that this virtual gives like nice tradable bounces, for example. I'll be able to say, okay, so it's daily volume 202 mil, hourly volume 18 mil, and 3-minute volume is 1.3 mil. Okay, well that's good. So I can use that as a reference to what do I want to pick in my volume filters. All right, next up, deltas. We have 3 hours, 3 hour deltas. You can see deltas right here. So in this case, the 3 hour delta is 23%. Let's say that we want the minimum delta of over the last 3 hours of 7%. The max delta, let's say we want 60%. Okay, so that way we don't get too crazy. 24-hour minimum, let's also keep it 7 minimum, and max also at 60. And now for this delta 2 type, you can set some custom stuff. You can say how much the coin pumped over the last 5 minutes now or whatever, or you can select a smaller deltas. Like let's say for example, you can select a 15-minute delta, which is right here, and let's say the 15-minute delta minimum should be 5%, and maximum, let's say it's gonna be 20%. Let's keep it at 20, and then you can even set for 1 minute. So for 1 minute, let's think about it. Min max, let's just not use it for now. So it's 0 to 1,000. I like it. Okay, delta on the Bitcoin. These Bitcoin deltas are used to catch market dumps. Like for example, when market dump is led by Bitcoin, a lot of people would use these to not trade, to essentially not to make sure that these strategies do not try to catch the dump. So in this case, what should we do? For the purposes of this, I'm not going to use it, but I suggest you do use it. But I just don't know off the top of my head what to put in here. Also going to put negative 100. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm basically saying that I don't care what Bitcoin does. Negative 100, delta market. So delta market minimax tells you how this coin performs relative to the market. Like so, let's say for example, I don't want, and it's calculated over the last hour. So these two, yes, these two are hourly deltas of this coin relative to just market average. Like for example, let's say I don't want, if the market pumps 10%, I don't want the coin that pumped more than 40% in an hour. And at the same time, I don't want the coin that dumped more than 10% relative to in an hour relative to the market. So this for the 24 hours doesn't matter. Let's do that. Okay, now we have some custom filters. Yeah, so now this is also new actually. So this appeared in the latest version. You can further select more custom deltas to set up, or you can do some creative things like daily volume to hourly volume ascending, daily volume, hourly volume. You can do minute volume, with specific numbers. You can do max position, funding, leverage. It's like basically you can get creative with this. I'm gonna skip this for now, but these are self-explanatory. Again, deltas, volumes. These this these two is the ratios of daily volume to hourly volume. So daily volume divided by hourly volume, and then it's sorted ascending or descending. And then so if you sort it, obviously if you sort it ascending, the minimum becomes like from the bottom up and so on. Okay, this one is very important filter. So buy volume, sell volume filter. So buy volume, sell volume filter ratio of 1 means that buy volume is more or less equal to the sell volume. Okay, so what this does is this filter controls really where the bot tries to buy the coin. So for example, let's say that I'm gonna set it at 0.8 and the maximum is gonna be, let's say, 3. Exit tick penalty, let's do 5 seconds. But this is also important parameter. It's basically gonna say how soon can the strategy work again in the near future. Now for these two, hold on a second, I'm going to explain to you. So so we said, so the buy volume ratio minimum should be 0.8. So the buy volume should be 80% of the sell volume, and then the max is 3. So what this one does is, so what this one means is that after there is a sharp drop in the coin, let's say it dropped 4%, well, obviously the reason why it dropped is because more people sold than bought. Okay? But as soon as the idea here is that as soon as the ratio as soon as this ratio reaches a certain threshold, it will pass the filter. Now that threshold is determined by here, right here, in the stop section. I don't know why it's there, but you can select either trades count or time. If you select time, this is going to be time in seconds. And if you select trades count, it's going to be number of trades. So now, whenever this is selected to trade count, that 0.8 minimum up above means that it's going to take 100 latest trades, and it's going to calculate that buy and sell volume for those 100 trades. And then based on that, as soon as it reaches zero point 0.8, it will make a market buy. Now this one, so this controls, so this these two, the kind and the trace number, controls two things. You can use buy volume and sell volume stop. And what this means is that whenever, like, sell volume, let's say that it's going to be the buy volume sell volume is going to be 0.5. Oops. So it means that sell volume is twice higher than the buy volume. This, over the last 100 trades, this will trigger a stop loss. So it doesn't care if it's in profit. It's not going to care what it is. But let's say we're going to say it as a yes. It will close the trade if there is like a basically the sell volume outpaces the buy volume. So that, as an idea, what could happen is that the coin dropped, the coin bounced, and then it starts to curve back down. And whenever it starts to curve back down, and the buy volume sell volume ratio decreases, and then the stop is essentially triggered. So let's go back, finish up with other filters. Okay, so we talked about that. Next detect penalty, we talked about that. Global detect penalty. Basically, if after the strategy has been triggered on some sort of coin, this same strategy is not gonna be triggered on any other coin. It's only gonna work that coin. In this case, let's just not use it. Keep it 0. Global filter penalty, let's not use it. It's the same thing basically. Like, as soon as one coin passes the filter, no other coins are gonna pass the filters. These two are legacy parameters. They are not used in current versions of Moonbot. They've been kind of, whenever back from 2017 or whatever, I think they got kind of inherited. Doesn't matter. These don't do anything. You can do any number you want. Ooh, delta switch. So this one is a tough one. Basically, what it's gonna do is that whenever some sort of, so the idea behind this filter is that whenever the coin starts to move and deltas increase on that coin, it will what could happen is that the strategy may be working at a profit, but at some point the deltas will increase so much that it will no longer pass the filters. Well, so this filter, what this delta switch does is that it basically, like, kind of acts as a ratio to multiply those other deltas, so that the strategy keeps working on the coin that it's been working on, even though deltas no longer pass the filters. For the purposes of them, I'm not going to use this. Price step. Price step is every coin has a different price step on exchange, but most of them, like, basically there is a I recommend just leaving it as is. These don't do much, but you can look in the exchange documentation of like what the price step like actually is. But it's essentially of like it's essentially like how close to each other the trades can be placed, or the orders can be placed. Like some coins will not let you place um, orders with like so you see in here we have 4 decimal points. Some coins will have only 1 decimal point, only 2 decimal points, and what that will do is that it will create like these kind of steps because it's not as smooth. So there goes that. Doesn't matter, leave it as stock. um does so BTC price step doesn't matter. Same position. um uh it like I never found use of it. I have never seen anyone use it, so I'm not gonna talk about it. But it's essentially like um, it's only gonna open new positions or only count it towards an existing position. Like I think it maybe makes sense in a bull market when like there's for sure gonna be a bounce and you're really trying to find the bottom on something. I don't know, probably for that purpose, but um, not for me. I've never seen anyone use it. So mark price is very important. So for example, if we are mark price is just so you don't get liquidated. We can we can keep it as is. Like chances are we're not gonna see many times when the mark price is so far off that the coin doesn't trade. And then in this case, we are only doing long trades, so it doesn't really matter that the price step is the mark price is going to be high. But well, actually, I'm just going to keep it one because I don't like whenever coins start to deviate from the mark price. Um, it's usually not really good. Like something weird is going on. Max position. Let's say max position is going to be $20 for the purposes of this demo. Check after buy. This one is important. So what this will do is that if whenever it does whenever it purchases a coin, um, it the filter so the filters are checked um, only once. So it actually says right there. So whenever it's selected as a no, the filters are checked only once when the signal is detected. So when the coin is detected, it passed the filters. That's it. But if you say it a yes, it will continue checking those filters until your buy order is actually executed. Um, in this case, like like again 50-50. Like we can either use it or not use it. I will leave it up to you. I'm gonna keep it a no. These price bugs are specific to Binance, but in this case we are doing a on Bybit, so we're not gonna care about these. And even on Bybit or even on Binance, nobody cares about this anymore. Total loss. Let's say we're gonna say total loss of $5. Um, these ones don't really kind of nobody using it, but it's essentially it's gonna work until a minimum amount of profit or maximum amount of profits. Let's say if we can make $100, the strategy stops. I don't know why would anyone use it. I'm not going to use it. Prevent working until um, this is some sort of time. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna actually skip it. It's some sort of setting of like do not work until certain like time or whatever. Okay, don't check before buy. All right, so it says so do not recheck filters immediately before buy. By default, filters are checked twice, before detection and before placing a buy order. Um, so we can set it to yes because chances are once the detect passes, whenever it wants to do a buy order, we want to like make it as soon as possible. Actually, I'll keep it at check-in twice because why not? But again, I will let you decide what you want there. Okay, triggers. This one is whenever I said so far we've done with filters. So triggers is a very interesting one. This basically controls your creativity because First of all, if you think that you will just set one strategy and it will work, it's probably not going to be the case, or it's going to be the case only in a bull market. Come bear market, chances are it's not going to work very well. The triggers is what kind of makes allows you to do the combination between different strategies. Like, so for example, what you can do is, like, you can say, I'm gonna build a strategy called, um, well, let's say the strategy is gonna be called drops detection. It's gonna detect the drop, certain filters, yada yada yada, and then whenever it does that, it will trigger another strategy. So the trigger key says that, okay, this strategy right here, this drop detection strategy, will have a key one. The key one is just a unique identifier saying that this strategy has a trigger key one. When we will go and select a different strategy, let's say we're gonna select one called volumes. Okay, when we select one called volumes, in that one we'll come in and say, and this one will be 0 by default, but trigger key by will be but trigger by key will put it as 1. So what that will do is that this drops detection strategy, which has trigger key 1 in here, will and then the in volume strategy will have a trigger by key 1 here. It means that the drop strategy triggers a volume strategy. So what that allows you to do a certain kind of chain of different strategies. You can even chain a few different drops detection strategies. Like, all right, so the big drop happened, and then within the big drop, you can have a second drop detection strategy that is like more little more nuanced to really pick the bottom or something like that. Okay, that's kind of how it works. And then so and then this is really the biggest one. The other ones like trigger key buy, trigger key profit, trigger key loss. Um, oh, actually no, those are actually important. But so the way these can be used, for example, the trigger key profit so the trigger key buy can say, so in this case, whenever this strategy passes, if we do one here, so whenever this strategy passes the filters and everything, it will trigger the next strategy that will have 1 here. If we will have 0 here but 1 here, we'll say that okay, sure, the strategy passed the filters and everything, but it's not gonna trigger a different strategy until it buys, until it executes a buy order. What you could do, for example, is with drop strategy, you can say trigger key buy 1, then you can have another strategy, let's say pumps detection strategy or something, that will do a hedge short, for example, right? So a this strategy does a purchase, and then your other strategy that is triggered by the buy triggers a short position. So that way you can have, like, all right, you have a long and then you have a hedge short against it. That could be, like, for example, an interesting chain of or idea of events. Then you can do keep profit. This one, for example, let's say you have moonshot strategy. You have some sort of like fake orders, and whenever a shot through the order book happens and it picks up your order, and it closes it in profit, it will trigger a real, like, for example, a real strategy. So like those kind of things. So this is essentially how triggers work. They are controlled here, and they have very extensive controls. So this is what allows you to become creative with this and really kind of navigate good market or bad market or whatever. Okay. Session. I'm gonna keep this as ignore session. It's session levels in USDT, of course. These are essentially kind of controls how much money it can lose or how much money it can make or whatever. So like you can say that session increase order you can control. Like let's say that if today's strategies work really well, today is a very bullish day, your strategies work fine, they doing profit, then this will gradually increase order size. Okay, But if, for example, today is a bad day and then none of the strategies that work very well, it will gradually reduce the size, and it will reset it will reset as, like, let's say, every 24 hours. So this is useful if you like kind of you want something to run fully automated and you don't even look at it. But chances are you're not going to use any of this. You will still be kind of next to your computer every day to tune these parameters. But this is essentially what it does. What I know, what some of the people that do, I know that what I know they do is that they have, let's say, 100 of different drop strategies running every day, and they have these ones set up. So whenever the day starts, different drops detection strategies start to work, and the ones that don't perform really well decrease the order or get turned off completely, and the ones that do work continue increasing the order aggressively and work. So this basically guarantees them that every single day something works. So there's that. We talked about that session. Now, next up, buy conditions. So auto buy is obviously a yes. Buy delay. Um, what this will do is that whenever the bot wants to make a purchase, wants to buy, you can delay that buy by a certain number of time. I don't know why you would do that. Let's keep it as a 0. Auto buy yes, short no. So we are only interested in longs. But if we do want to short it, you can do it here. High frequency trading. So with this one, it determines the time frame milliseconds during which the request to place an order is valid. So what this means is that, let's say I'm gonna place this, I'm gonna do this as a 500. So if within 500 milliseconds, the order didn't get filled or didn't get executed, then it's gonna cancel it. All right, max active orders. Let's do 1. Orders per market. Let's do 2. Max market. Let's do 10. So these two self-explanatory. A max order per market means max order per coin. So 2 orders per coin. Max active orders just 1. A maximum market 10. So it means that it will work on the maximum of 10 coins at the same time. Auto cancel buy. Let's say I'm gonna cancel it after a second. No, let's do 2 seconds. So if within 2 seconds we didn't get filled, cancel it. Cancel buy after sell. Yes, because in case that I have the second order that's been stuck in there, and then the first one order gets sold, let's just do it. Buy type. You can do either buy limit, buy stop, or buy. In this case, we just gonna do market buy. Pending order spread. We'll just keep it at a little bit bigger, something like 0.5. Order size. Let's do $10. Minimum free balance. We're gonna ignore that. Buy price. So this is the buy price is essentially what could happen is that by the time whenever detect happened, the price could have moved away, down, or whatever. So in this case, we are gonna say so let's read it really quick. The purchase price in percent from the price at the time the strategy detect, or from the price 30 seconds ago. Yeah, so we'll do last trade. We're not gonna do we're not gonna do 30-second old ask, and we'll say that the maximum deviation from it should be 0.5%. This guarantees that the price didn't go too far away, essentially. Use old price. We're not gonna do that. Delta modifiers. I have not seen anyone use this, so I kind of wanna skip it because I don't really see a point of this, because what this does is that it modifies the deltas that you put in your filters. So for example, you can say, let's say you picked minimum 3-hour delta of 10, and then in here you'll put 1. Well, now that one becomes, instead of 10, it becomes minimum 11. I don't really know why they put it here, but nobody's using it, and I recommend you to just like skip it, unless you just have some sort of, unless you like know something I don't. Multiple orders. You can have it do multiple orders, and you can set rules of like what what increments those orders might be. So for example, let's say that, to use this, let's say that you want, oh yeah, this is a good example. So let's say you want to pick do a drops, do some sort of slow drops detection. This would only work in a bull market, by the way. Let's say that let's say that the coin grew, what, 16%. So let's say our drop, our drops detection will detect a drop of 5% in a certain amount of time. Okay, so let's say that our minimum delta is going to be 3-hour delta is going to be 20. All right, it passes. Let's say that our drop should be 5% over the last 20 minutes or whatever. So this drop will get picked up. This drop will get picked up, and let's say that over the last, let's do over the last 5 minutes. So in this case, over the last 5 minutes, we have a sell volume of 850K, buy volume of 450K. So let's say that this filter will now be, like, our filter will say this should be like 0.6 or something, right? So this would get picked up. Okay, so this will get picked up as a kind of valid thing, and it will place a buy order here. So because this is like a slow drop, and then we are hoping that there is some sort of area of like resistance, or sorry, area of support in here, we can say, let's do 3 orders, and then buy price step of negative 1.5. So it will place one order here, then it will do 1.5% down. It will do a second order here, 1.5% down. It will do another order here. So it will do these 3 orders. So the idea is that the coin will kind of move down, pick up these, and then do a bounce. And then you can even do things like order size step. So zero would mean that every single order is the same. But if you say 25, it means that the first order will be 10, second order will be 35, the fourth order will be like what, 60. In this case, I'm just going to use one order, but this is basically how it works. You can do linear or exponential. Cancel buy step, join sell key. So this is essentially, if you do zero, it's not going to join the orders together. By joining the orders, I mean this. So for example, if I purchase something, if we make a few orders, right? So I did 3 orders. So I have 3 orders right here. If I do Control S, it will put it as a 1. And so that's essentially what that does. The join sell key will join these into one order, and then it will have a certain key, like 1, and then you'll be able to do something with it later. Oh, in this case, we're not going to use that. Okay, sell order. So let's do a sell order of 0.5. Let's just keep it at, no, let's do it at 1. Let's say we want to catch 1% bounces. Sell delay nothing, but self-explanatory, sell down timer. So what we could do is, after, let's say that we purchased, the strategy purchased a coin. After 10 seconds, it starts to move down the price. Oh, sorry, it starts to move down the sell order. So the delay, yeah. So let's keep these two at 10. So after 10 seconds, this will start moving the sell price down. Sell price down percent will do at, let's do 0.1. Again, you don't have to set this up, but well, it's just for the demo purposes. We will. Price down relative will be, it will be, so if yes, it will be relative to the percent difference between buy and sell, or if not, it's just gonna be relative to the price itself. So let's just do relative to the price itself. Price down allow drop. Let's do a little bit bigger. Let's do 1%. scalping mode, something new. I haven't seen that before. Let's do a yes, whatever. This one doesn't seem too important. Sell by filters. So if um, if we set this as 1, what this will do is that whenever the filters don't pass anymore, it will trigger a sell order. So let's just keep it at 1. Sell by custom EMA. So by custom EMA, basically this, what you can write some rules in here that will sell whenever the price of the coin kind of curves down a little bit or stagnates. It doesn't go up anymore. It will trigger. You can write the custom EMA rule. It will trigger that. It will trigger that sell order. Okay, EMA delay, self-explanatory. Check enter, self-explanatory. Sell level delay. Basically, that just delays on like, all right, how whenever it wants to place a sell order, like what's the delay on that? But it again, these does not matter. Cell level time also does not matter in this case. These cell level counts is basically the number of different orders. Like even if you have just one order, it's actually gonna split them into certain number of those. Cell level adjust. I'm not gonna use any of this. Use stop loss. Okay, so of course we want to use stop loss, and we do want to use fast stop loss. So fast stop loss is essentially just when the price just barely like touches your stop loss, it's going to be activated. The stop, if you do just a stop loss, you can do EMA in seconds. So let's say over the last 5 trades, the stop loss is going to be a negative 0.5. Over the last 5 trades is going to trigger the stop loss. Stop loss spread. I suggest you do something absurd, because if the price moves too fast through your stop loss, it will not be triggered. But if you do something crazy like this, it will definitely be triggered. Add 1 minute delta does not matter. If you do this one does not matter. Allow drop. In this case, we can do like, okay, sure, minus 1%, but it doesn't matter because we selected fast stop loss, so it's going to work really fast anyway. We can do something creative with use second stop loss. So for example, if the coin makes the purchase, let's do after 30 seconds, it will change the stop loss, and it will actually move the stop loss to break even. And in this case, we'll keep it 0, so it will move the stop loss up from negative 0.5 to 0. And then we can repeat that to right here. Sorry, this was it. So to 0. We can even do third stop loss, but in this case, I'm not going to use that. We can also do trailing stop loss. That's also self-explanatory. I'm not going to use that, but you can if you want. Use take profit. So let's say that we are catching 1% moves, but we will take profit at 0.5. PV/SV stop, we said yes. Trades count over the last 100 trades, 0.65 the ratio. Not reverse. SV take profit doesn't matter. Let's just not use it. Panic sell delisted, yes, because if the coin gets delisted, let's just sell it. Ooh, this was a lot. Very last one. All right, this is basically like the actual drops detection strategy. So let's say over the last what should we do? Over the last 15 seconds. Let's do 20. Over the last 20 seconds. The last, let's see. Over what number of seconds should we average? Let's do over the last. Sorry. Let's do over the last 6 seconds. We'll average the prices over the last 6 seconds to come up with drops price MA. So drops price MA will set this to 1, so the last price will be taken as is without any sort of moving average. And drops price delta, well, let's say that price drop during analysis period in percentage. Let's say it dropped 3% over the last 20 seconds, and then it actually over the last 4 seconds on average, it was less than 3%. That way we actually can like, let's do 2. That way we can actually kind of catch the bottom of it. Now, and then lastly, drops price is low. So this is, if this is yes, the current market price is the hourly low. For my case, I'm not going to use that. And then if yes, the calculation of the purchase price will be the last price as per detect values. We will use last price. Yes. Okay. We are done. So let's do the check mark, and then let's do start checked. Boom. All right, it's working. By conditions, did I set? Just make sure that I set the order to $10. By conditions, order size $10. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see what it does. So now, importantly, um, let's say that, so important, whenever this starts work, it actually is going to put a information bar here to say why it's not, why this coin does not pass the filters. So in this case, the drops detection hourly volume is 182K. That doesn't match the strategy of 500K. Okay, so we said minimum has to be 500. It doesn't match, done. All right, drops detection now. Okay, so drops demo doesn't match dynamic whitelist. Let's actually change this up a little bit. I'm just gonna do 1,000. Okay, perfect. That way we'll actually just see any trades that we'll get. Oh yeah, use custom colors. That's what I wanted. All right, let's see. So what I did is that I opened up filters a little bit, and then opened up an order window and log window just to see what's kind of happening. What does it want to do? So yeah, this way we can just kind of see the strategy in action. All right, so it did an order there. Boom. So this is here, like it's different colors of the orders. So this is the automated strategy working. Dun, dun, dun. After a certain amount of time, it's just gonna close the trade. Right there. So it 1% 1% profit. Let's see. Let's maybe like just do one more, and I think it will be good enough for the demo. And then I'm gonna just want to see if it can show me the chart somehow. Looks like it doesn't want to. And this log window is just for us to kind of see how things work, what is some of the things that bot is looking at and calculates. Right there, right there. This was fully automated. Obviously, we had a very sharp drop. Now it's thinking, well, keep in mind that I relaxed the filters quite a bit. But yeah, just for the demo purposes. But yeah, here we go. Usually the idea would be to make sure that this works really fast, so that at this point this would be, the trade would be closed. But remember, we have that parameter that closes the trade after a certain time. But in this case, looks like it worked again because it still passes the condition. So yeah, so this is basically it. Yeah, thank you for watching. In the next videos, we'll be covering more strategies, not only this, but this was just kind of one of them to start with. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you in other videos.